The banner week in OTR history, one of our best shows ever on Friday. Guests and viewers alike have come to see OTR as a place where the truth gets said. This man speaks the truth, and when he speaks the truth, he says, join me for my next fight. Saturday night, a huge one coming up. He is the WBF World Welterweight Champion, also the Canadian Welterweight Champion, one of OTR favorite fighters, Fitzroy, the Whip, Vanderpool. Good to see you, man.
Thanks, Mike. Good to see you. I want to let you know that I got some cool cats back in KW that dig your show.
It's good. It's good, Whip. Thanks, man. Yeah.
All right.
Proud of you. Appreciate it. Well, KW, by the way, Kitchener-Waterloo. See? Geography major. Great to welcome to the show for the first time. That's his neck of the woods as well. He is an ultimate fighter, a wrestler, Geza Kalman on OTR. Hey, Geza.
Michael, thanks for having me here.
Nice to see you. Obviously, you're making yourself comfortable with the feet up on the chair.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and welcome back to the show. Top curler, he's skipping his own rink this year, 1991 Ontario Junior Champion, Steski on OTR. Hey, Pete.
How you doing, Mike?
Excellent. Today is pain, entertaining. What about death? In the business of reporting the news, where do lines get drawn in protecting the public from itself? And we love a winner, but sometimes a winner can sound like a whiner, and how much is too much? But first of all, Ricky Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner, found out yesterday exactly what it's like in the NFL. Guy's got a sore ankle. Opponents say, whoa, I hope it feels better. Then they try to snap it in two. The Panthers were clearly trying to work on the Heisman Trophy winning running back's sore ankle, and it worked. He missed the second half. I ask, is that a reasonable tactic?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like in his fight on Saturday night, if he gets a cut under his eye, the other guy's not going to just punch him from one side. I think if opponent's got a weakness, you have to go after it.
That's exactly it. I mean, everybody knows it's a sore ankle. You might as well paint it bright orange. Let him go out there because everybody knows it's going to be a sore thumb.
Well, you know, the bottom line is, yeah, if it's sore, I mean, you might as well take advantage of what you can because in this game, in this business, you know, you take advantage of what you can. And
that's right. Any edge that someone can get. I mean, the other team, they know he's good. Heisman Trophy winner.
Like
let's get him out of the game. Let's get him out.
Weekend, Kafelnikov was playing Agassi. Kafelnikov's backhand was brutal. Agassi went to the backhand the whole time. Should he have had it to the forehand? I mean, football's a physical sport.
Yeah, but there's a different thing between saying, okay, I'm going to hit to the guy's weakness than I'm going to try to hit his weakness physically. Now, how about if it was not an ankle injury? Because the worst thing that can happen is it gets more severe. How about if it's a concussion? In the first round of the NHL playoffs, I remember the Toronto Maple Leafs targeting John LeClair, who rushed back from a concussion. They tried to bang him into the boards every chance they could get.
Well, that's his own fault for rushing back.
Yeah.
I mean, if the doctors say take a week off, take a week off. I mean, you know, he gets his money no matter what.
It's like everything. You take advantage of what you can, and if that's, you know, that's the advantage they have, it's for the team. They got to win. It's all about winning, you know, at any cost.
That's right, win at all costs.
At any cost. So morality doesn't enter into it. If a guy steps out on the ice or if a guy steps onto the field,
that's his option.
The guy's got to be ready to play if he's going to step on the field. If he's not ready to play, he shouldn't be there.
I mean, that's like if you're going to look at if you're stepping out there with a weakness, okay, my arm's broken, just got healed up, and you're stepping out there, I mean, you're going to expect to be attacked on the arm. People are going to attack it. They know the weakness.
When you're being paid to win, you get out there and do what you got to do in order to win, and that's what it's all about, winning.
There's no question that it's for the athletes all about winning, but for the viewer, of course, it's all about watching. On the weekend, there was a tragic accident, obviously. An accelerator got stuck and a rookie driver on the kart circuit died while attempting to qualify. We're not going to show it here because we debated that in our morning meeting. I said that we shouldn't show it and some said that we should. Should something like that be shown to the audience because you know that there is a ghoulish factor where people want to see it? Should a broadcaster be showing something like that?
Well, I don't think it's the responsibility of them not to show it. I mean, I think it's okay to show it because, I mean, it's part of what goes on. I mean, unfortunately, these things happen. Accidents do happen. You can't control everything like that as far as life's concerned. So I don't see nothing wrong with showing it.
I can't tell you whether the media was really bad about it because I saw it on the news. I saw it on the tickers and stuff, but never once all weekend did I see an actual showing of it. I didn't see any station that I had watched that actually showed the accident.
Put yourself in the other person's situation. They'll say it was someone from your family who got in the accident. I don't think you need that to be shown over and over and over again. I mean, once or twice, maybe it's newsworthy at the time, but I don't think it's something you want to do. It's distasteful once it gets to a certain level.
Well, I guess in a sense, still, too, like if you're watching over and over again, you may also see ways to avoid having that kind of a confrontation, you know, having it happen again, right?
Well, how's that going to help the general public? I don't think too many of us are going to be in that
But come on, the
situation.
general public loves to see the ghoul.
Oh,
They love
absolutely.
to see the violence and the accidents and the deaths and the broken legs and football and all of that stuff.
I agree with that.
The
but
split heads and ultimate fighting, the boxing, the blood.
I mean, basically, yeah, I'm sympathetic, you know, to the family of the guy who died in the accident. But I mean, what if they're showing it in such a way that other drivers can learn from it to see that it won't happen again?
Well, then they can use it in classes or whatever to.
Plus the
use
driver,
it
I mean,
to
he's in
instruct
the public
drivers.
eye. He's doing something that, you know, it's a spectacle. You're
But
going to
there's
get
a big
thousands
difference
of people.
between, like, when you're fighting and there's blood versus a guy dying in the car. I don't
But
think the crowd
risks are
loves to see
different.
that.
The risks
crowd
are
does
different
not love
too.
to see
There
that.
was a guy who died in fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And they
I'm sure
showed it on
happens all the
tape.
time.
You saw it on TV. Hell, it was on the cover of the Sunday Toronto Sun.
Made news, people love to see
Yeah,
that.
guys lying on the dead or lying on the
I'm not arguing people
lying
don't
in the
like to see
ring
it. I'm
dead
just saying
there.
sometimes it can be distasteful if it's done at
But
a certain level.
Pete, can you broadcast for the family? I mean, it's a sad truth that obviously the family would look at that and would be shocked and dismayed and disheartened, and you know, it's a tragic loss. But is a broadcast or a newspaper printed or broadcast with the family's interest in mind?
Sometimes there, sometimes not. I guess in this situation it wasn't that bad because I haven't even seen it yet. So if it was broadcast too much, I mean,
How about when a guy's on the playing field? On the weekend, Shannon Stewart, we showed it in our opening, was running to first base, stepped on first base awkwardly, and his leg will lock. And this is the way sports works, pretty gruesome. There's no death here, and Shannon Stewart will live to play again. But, you know, I find that awfully nasty. Should that be the kind of thing that we look at and maybe look at a few times and over again? Because we didn't hesitate to show it this time.
Yeah, there's no death or anything like that.
I guess
mean,
that's why they didn't hesitate to show it. I mean, nobody died.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, it's just as bad as injury. I mean, there's a chance that, you know, that could be career-ending just like anything else. I mean,
it's not life-ending though.
yeah, still. But
Well, I don't see where it's such a situation that, you know, there's a problem with showing it. I mean, you know, his leg locked. I mean, it's natural. I mean, like, these things happen. I mean, everything is not always the way things are planned to be. Unfortunately, we can't
Let me
control
ask you
what
this,
goes on.
Whip, on Saturday night, I hope you knock him out. And like you said, you're going to knock him out with style. But you get knocked out. Will it bother you if that is shown repeatedly in highlights saying, oh, look at Fitzroy Vanderpool. Look how he goes down. He's unconscious.
But you're talking about something that's not going to happen. So, I mean, you know, we can't even go there.
Nice.
look at Fitzy eating the canvas.
There he goes, taking on the chin again.
No, on Saturday I'll be doing a knocking out.
Okay.
You know, but hope no one gets hurt.
You don't believe in fiction, do you? I was just talking hypothetical here.
That's okay.
But how about when it's not hypothetical? How about when the manager sits down and doesn't talk hypothetically, but for real says, these are the guys I don't like? How appropriate is that when OTR returns? Last week in the Globe and Mail, Grant Kerr reported a story that he says he heard firsthand in Seattle after a Blue Jay loss in a bar. Jim Fregosi, the Blue Jays manager, and Terry Bevington, Blue Jays coach, were talking. He says that they were drinking. He says that it got loud. He says that he was talking, Jim Fregosi, to fans and telling what's wrong with the Toronto Blue Jays and what players he did not want back next year. Now, this story was reported last week. I thought it would be huge news. We seem to be the only ones talking about it. Should the Blue Jays take any action here?
No, I mean, you know, at least he had the balls to step up and say what probably all the higher up people felt too, the owners, whatever people are above him. I mean, sure, it took a little bit of liquid courage, but at least it came out.
Yeah, but I think that, you know, him being a manager, he shouldn't be actually getting out there and speaking to the general public like that.
Who's the one who should say it? Should they have the PR guys? I mean, anybody who
There's a way to do
steps
it.
out to the media and says, hey, this is the nice way to say this.
I don't think that's
This is the good way to do it.
Yeah, but
Bro,
hammered
just
in a
let
bar,
him say it
hammered
however
in
he
a
wants
bar
to say
at
it.
12:30. How professional
So
is that?
what?
What do you mean? So
How
what?
professional
Okay, yeah, but
is
you're
it?
talking about liquid courage. I mean,
Good for him.
You see lots of people who have liquid courage. I mean, is that the correct way to do things? No, that's
Hey,
unprofessional.
maybe that's his style. That's his style. Let him handle it the way he wants
If that's
to.
the case, then the Blue Jays should do something. If they got a booze and drunk for a manager who can only speak his mind when he's
Hey,
hammered
worked in a
drunk.
movie, right?
They got to
Worked for Tom Hanks. Got his team over.
Yeah, but the thing though too is that professional that he's getting drunk and then going out and speaking like this?
Oh, he
That's not
wasn't going
professional.
out speaking. They didn't have a microphone for him. He was sitting there at a
Then
bar.
how
and
did
he
he
was
know
with
that
the
this
buddy.
kid
reporters
reported
are going to
back?
be in the bar.
So what?
What do you mean, so what? He's obviously
He knows,
speaking
at least,
knowing
well,
it's going to get
that's the
reported.
way he leaks it out. Let it be known.
So you're saying he did it on purpose?
I wouldn't doubt it. He can't be stupid enough not to know that there's going to be some
Yeah,
people
but
there
that's
covering
not proper
it.
business.
Exactly.
That's not how business is conducted.
Maybe that's the only way he could do
supposed
it.
to be conducted.
You're supposed to have a
in an orderly
nice
fashion.
press conference
Sure, I mean,
where
if
he'll
you're-
step up. He won't say nothing.
if you're the big manager and you're doing your job,
So the
you should
team
hold a
can do
press
better
conference
if
and
we
have
all
it done
just
that
got
way.
together. That's what they're going to say. Big press conference, nobody's going to say anything. You
Well,
know,
Tony Fernandez
the news got out
allegedly
there.
is one of the guys they've been talking about. Tony's done a lot with that organization through the years, and then to have his name trashed by some drunk in a bar saying we don't even
but-
want him on the team.
Is it the same
next year,
Tony
makes
that was
no
there
sense.
a decade ago?
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
he's come and
batting
gone.
average.
I think it's important to note that the reporter said that he'd been drinking. We wouldn't accuse Jim Fregosi necessarily of doing this regularly, but in that case, the reporter said that he had some, as you put it, liquid courage.
Yeah.
But Geza makes a point here, and that is these are professional athletes that are coddled and pampered, and
Oh, big
every
time.
turn they're taken
Big
care
time.
of. What is wrong with coming out and making a statement to try to light a fire under a team that's pretty flat right now?
Maybe,
Well,
maybe it'll bring them together.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but it's just the way. I mean, it's like when I go
You
into
can't
a
do
fight.
it in a nice way, though. Wait,
No,
can't.
but
You
when
can
I
do
go
it
into a
If you
fight, am
wanna
I
kick
supposed to drink
someone's butt.
before I go? Yeah, do I drink before I go out there and do it?
it doesn't
no, I
matter.
don't.
That was his way of doing it.
Well, I mean, there's a right way and there's
I mean,
a
they're
wrong
not
way.
going to
Why
all
not
get
just-
together and
Why
sing
not just
Kumbaya
rip the guy in
and
front of all his teammates
hold
in the
hands.
locker room? Then it's kept within the team, and Tony still is embarrassed and is humiliated and pissed off at Fregosi, so he's going to come back.
How about
and play.
Dave Stewart? Dave Stewart, the assistant general manager of this team, was known when he played for having the coldest stare in history. That he would look at a batter and tell him basically, I'm going to beat you. Well, he brought the same intensity to his job as assistant general manager. He came out and said, we are too complacent, we are not tough enough, David Wells is fat. He said all these things, and people criticized him. What's wrong with stepping up to the plate and making comments?
He's not necessarily the guy running the team. I don't mind David Stewart doing that. He can stand by that, and everything he said is true. But
What's the
he is
difference
not the
then?
one in the clubhouse
What's the
who's the leader
difference?
of the team. The manager's the leader of the team. He should protect his players, and if he's got a problem with the players, he should handle it professionally and in a proper manner.
You know what? There was a survey in Sport magazine. They asked 100 Major League Baseball players which managers they'd most like to play for and which ones they'd least like to play for. The guy they'd most like to play for is Dusty Baker, manager of the San Francisco Giants. The guy they'd least like to play for, Bobby Valentine, manager of the New York Mets. I got a point to make. Bobby Valentine's going to the playoffs. Dusty Baker's going nowhere. Nice guys finish last.
There we go.
Oh, it's true. It's
There you
true.
go.
Nice guys do finish last, but like I said, you know, there's a proper way to do things, and I think that, you know, in
Well, I
business.
mean, so what? Negativity, man. They'll fire them up. Let's show him. Let's show this
Dusty
guy.
Baker's
He
a-
walks in there. He calls them a bunch of bums. I don't want you around. You suck. You ain't worth the money.
It'll
You know
fire
what I
some
mean?
guys up, but some guys.
So what? If it
won't.
doesn't fire them, shipping them out.
The
Ship
Dusty
them out.
Baker situation, he's got more out of that Giants team the last 3 years than just about anybody could have. That team basically sucks. I mean, name one pitcher in that team worth anything, and they've made the playoffs the last 2 years, and if it wasn't for Randy Johnson and that whole team picking it up a tremendous notch this year in Arizona, they'd be back there again. I think Dusty's done a great job. Valentine's got an easy job. He pencils in a lineup with Piazza and Olerud and Cedeno and all these guys. Anybody can manage a team like that. It's like Cox in Atlanta.
So what? If you got a bunch of great names, you know what you're going to get? Odd times, you're going to get a bunch of lazy asses, too.
Absolutely. And that's what he has in Bobby Bonilla, and that's why he sits Bobby on the bench.
On that note, we'll go to break. When we return, we'll talk about the U.S. Open. Hooray for Serena, but Venus says... On the weekend, one of the huge stories was Serena Williams' second year as a pro wins the U.S. Open. Not a lot of celebration happening from her sister Venus. Serena holds the cup. After she won that, Venus and Serena went out and won the doubles. But Venus Williams, who lost in the semifinals, was devastated. She says even winning the doubles, quote, doesn't help at all. It never helps. I'll never forget. I'm devastated. Do we admire the intensity of a person that, given her circumstance, can't even enjoy the fact that her sister and her family is having this marvelous
Yeah,
success?
but how old are they? They're kids, aren't they?
They're still teenagers.
Yeah, 15, 16,
17 and 19, yeah.
Oh, come on. When I was that age, man, if I had a brother when I was, 17 and we had to compete against each other and I lost to my brother or my brother whooped my butt and then I had to team up with him to win, I feel like, whoa, bro, I don't need him to carry me. I mean, that's how she feels. Her sister's carrying her to a championship. She wins her own and then carries her to a doubles run.
I see nothing wrong with what Serena did. I mean, she worked hard. The funny thing about it is, in these sports, when you're an individual and you accomplish something to a high goal, it's different than when you do it with someone else, with a partner, because someone else is carrying you. So, I mean, the individuality of what Serena did is great, and I feel the way she did.
I think it's even worse, like I say, sibling rivalry. It must be horrible there. I mean, imagine the, family trips. I mean, these two have to travel home together.
It's not that much
Maybe
of a rivalry.
Dad's driving them in the
If they're still able to
magic
play
wagon.
doubles together, there wouldn't be that much of a rivalry. I curl against my brother all the time. And if Potsy went on and wins the Brier this year, it's at my expense possibly, probably at Wayne Madaw's expense more realistically, but I'm going to be happy as hell for him. I'll be the first guy to call him. If he beat me in that final, I'd be crushed. I'm as competitive as anyone, and I'd probably be pretty livid behind the scenes. But when if the bottom line comes through, I'm going to be happy for my brother that he accomplished a lifetime goal.
Yeah, but that's curling.
That's curling.
It's curling. Tennis could be a little more.
Come back and punch this guy's lights out, I guess.
Tennis is a little more physical, I think, a little more intense.
Tennis is a little more physical. They got a racket in their hand.
Right, they run around a lot more. Not just sliding down the ice. Sweet!
You guys just roll around on the ground.
You know, I think no. Back to the thing with Venus.
No. Let's not go back to Venus. Let's go back to this. All right, that's a
Michael, don't make me take this guy out here.
No, I mean,
take him out with this.
I mean,
verbally.
I knew I needed Gerald Shimko on this show.
I don't know. Some sports, I don't see the intensity like curling. I mean, stuff happens. I mean, maybe it's a bump in the ice.
Have you ever curled at all?
Oh, I did in high school, man. Yeah, it was horrible.
You're probably pretty good at it, too.
No, I usually shot the rock right through the end.
I mean, every sport, you're telling me, like chess is as least competitive as it gets in terms of physical. You're telling me those guys aren't intense? Just because it's not a sport where you got to lift
yeah, intense in a different sense, I guess. Maybe mentally intense, like you get...
Yeah.
Well, mentally frustrated and tired at the end of the day.
I would argue for Pete. I mean, you can poke fun at curling all you want, but the fact is...
You would argue for Pete.
No, I would argue for Pete because what he does is no less physically intense than tennis. I would say it's different than your sports because you two guys are fighters, and obviously there's pain inflicted. But there's no pain in tennis. You never come in contact with your rival in tennis.
They must get tired.
There is pain because, I mean, there's pain and stress on their arms, the elbows, and swinging the racket, running back and forth, the tension on the ground. The poundage. I mean, curling's a little different, I think. I mean, you're just kind of like, I mean, this is where you're going to hurt yourself going like this,
you're
right?
You're going to hurt yourself in curling probably from sweeping more than anything.
I mean, I'm sure
throwing at a rock, you're never going to hurt yourself.
I guess there's a different kind of physical intensity.
You could get hurt in curling because you're so hammered when you're out in the ice, you might fall and crack your head open. That could happen.
That's what it
Let me throw a name out to you guys. You're talking about intensity, and you're talking about unable to see the big picture and focused in on the task at hand. How about Brian Cox? A controversial but outstanding linebacker scored a touchdown yesterday on opening day. And I'm wondering, as you watch Brian Cox do his thing and score a touchdown in what was a loss for the New York Jets, is he the kind of guy that you'd want on your team? You know that he's nuts. You know that he'll fly off the handle. But you guys love intensity. Do you love Brian Cox?
I couldn't even tell you. I mean, sure, it's always good. I mean, it's always good to have a loose handle on the team. Some guy who's gonna, he's intense. He fires up the rest of the team.
I saw him one time though.
You can't have the whole team up to that level.
Back when he played for Buffalo, when he played for Miami against Buffalo, he cost them basically a playoff game by getting a 15-yard misconduct penalty. And when it gets down to the high-pressure situation, a guy who's as volatile as him, I don't want on my team because he could go nuts, and he did. He essentially cost his team the game.
Well, I'd rather have him on my team than on the opponent's team.
I think it'll work both ways.
Win the game.
I think it'll work both ways, a guy like that, because I mean, sometimes he can work for you or he can work against you. You just got to take a chance.
Yeah, well, when it comes down to a high-pressure situation like a Super Bowl or a playoff game, I don't want to be rolling the dice. I want to be sure of who I've got out on the field.
Well, I mean,
as sure as you possibly can.
From what he says, you'd probably be well-equipped to roll the dice. It wouldn't be much different physically than what you do right now, right?
Apparently not.
Apparently. We'll take a break, and as we go to break, we tell you that we want to know what you think. We want to know the guests you want to see on the show. I was talking about the De La Hoya Trinidad fight. If I wanted to watch that, I could go out to Casino Rama on Saturday night, right?
Definitely. Casino Rama in Aurelia. I'm fighting Brian Mackey. Got the world title on the line. It'll be a great fight. I'd like everybody to come out and see the best fighter in Canada. Pound for pound.
That's Mackey?
The whip.
No, sorry, that's you.
The whip, pound for pound. But don't listen to what I say. Show up to Casino Rama in Aurelia and see for yourself. I'm the man.
Nice, I like that. What's up with you, Geza?
Well, Wednesday night, September 17th, I'll be wrestling in London. And then come Friday night, September 17th, I'll be kicking ass in my hometown of Cambridge.
Just a normal night at the bar, is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. I'll be at the Carl Holmuth Arena.
Pete Steski, I know that your curling season's coming up, and I know that you wanted to mention someone in particular.
Yeah, all our wishes in the curling world go out with Sandra Schmerler. She's recently, we just found out, has cancer, and she's battling really hard, and our thoughts are with her, and we hope she gets better.
A wonderful woman who was on Off the Record as well. Speaking of people that you know well, you went to high school with Mike Weir, right?
Yes.
Did the media handle Mike Weir appropriately? Not with Vancouver, but with the PGA when he had that terrible final round?
I didn't think so. I think they put the pressure of the world on him to win, and when he didn't come through, they really ripped him hard. And I'm looking at who's ripping him. A guy like Lauren Rubenstein or Bob Weeks is a good friend of mine, but the guy's probably, I don't know, Bob, 5'10" handicap. How can he possibly intelligently talk about what's going through a guy's mind?
We're going to leave that out as a question. Maybe we'll debate it. You sure you're comfortable here, Geza?
Yeah, I'm doing
Do you
pretty
want us to
good.
bring a footstool up for next time?
No, maybe a
anyway?
coffee.
Guys, thanks a lot for joining us on
Thank you.
RTR.